All right, welcome to another episode of SU Weekly. This time, SU is cricket. So, we have been in the shadow of SU football for a long time, and we are frankly tired of it. So, we decided to start a separate playlist for cricket. And what better occasion than the IPL 2025? So, here we are, Mr. Fixer Porter, who is apparently a CSK fan, or rather not. And then we have Rehan Shah, and then myself, Khandalf. We are here for one more episode, but this is the start of many episodes which will exclusively feature cricket. And we are going to discuss today the most controversial happenings in the history of IPL. The biggest controversies, not necessarily the most interesting ones, but we will probably take the most exciting ones to talk about, or rather, what was top of mind for all three of us. We will start with Fixer Porter, and like the name implies, we will start with CSK and Rajasthan Royals getting banned for alleged betting and match fixing, or spot fixing rather. Gentlemen, your comments, and we can start with that.
எங்க ஊரு சென்னைக்கு பெரிய விசில் அடிங்க.
We should always start with music. Man, what an iconic, or rather infamous controversy. And I think this is, out of the controversies we'll be talking about today, this is probably the only controversy that brought an existential threat to the IPL. The IPL could have stopped, and as we know it, and uh, I think kudos to the administration to handle it well, or to have the right connections to have handled it well, that we still have the IPL. So what exactly happened in 2013? The Delhi police actually arrested three RR players: Srishant, Ankit Chavan, Ajit Chandilya, for spot fixing. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the difference between match fixing and spot fixing is that in match fixing you like throw away the match, but in spot fixing you based on what you've been told by the bookies, uh, you do one
You,
particular thing, like you can
yeah,
you
you
can
specifically
put a no
fix an
ball.
event. You specifically fix an event in a game. It could be a no
A
ball. It
desired
could be,
outcome for one specific event. Yeah,
yeah,
could be
it
like
could be a
12 runs
dot
and over.
ball. Even a
Yeah,
dot ball sometimes gets you money.
Yeah,
like you should
yeah.
go for under 8 in this over. You should go for
Yep.
over 12 in that. Yeah,
Right. So I think it's harder to actually, uh, it's easier to do and harder for the authorities to check, because it's just one or two balls. So it's hard to find a pattern. But yeah, Delhi police actually arrested these three players, and Srishant was a World Cup winner for India, so it was a huge moment in Indian cricket. Uh, and this shit just hit the fan and got much worse after that. Gurunath Mayappan, who was the founder of CSK, he's the son of N. Srinivasan. He was accused of betting, and I think subsequently both CSK and RR were banned. And CSK was one of the most iconic franchises. It had the biggest fan base. And RR obviously was the first winner. So, and we're talking 2013. I think CSK had already won a couple of times, and RR had won once. So this was a massive blow to the IPL. And I don't know about you guys, but when the IPL started for the first few years, you had like a lot of naysayers talking about how everything is fixed. What is the point of watching this? People are just doing it for the money. And us cricket enthusiasts, at least me, I was always ignore these opinions that genuinely great cricket is happening and I want to watch it. But this controversy was a win for those guys, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you rightly called out the existential crisis moment for IPL as such, and it genuinely would have actually could have stopped the IPL from continuing any further, and speaks volumes about the influence that BCCI and probably the authorities had at that point in time to just keep going, bring in new teams, just redistribute the players, just keep going with it. but it also took guts to ban two iconic franchises. Uh, I mean, RR not necessarily as iconic as the Mumbai Indians or CSK, but they were the winners in the first, and they were definitely one of those franchises which was supposed to have a great management team. And if I'm not wrong, it's I think Manoj, the owner of Rajasthan Royals. I'm not sure.
Manoj Badale.
Yeah, Manoj Badali. So I think himself and Shane Warne took so much pain in setting up the whole management and support staff of that team when it started out, and it had been going strong for a while. Although they hadn't won much after that first IPL. But I think in terms of actions taken by BCCI, it was great. But what I felt was, given the accused, one was Mr. Gurunath Mayappan, and the other was, I think, Vindu Dara Singh. These two were in inside the dressing room of CSK. They were right there along with Dhoni's, family, or they were right there chatting with everyone else. So it's really hard for me to believe that none of the players knew. It's almost like saying that, you had a sandpaper and the ball was tampered, but none of the fast bowlers knew what was happening and what was going on. It's very similar to that, right? So there is a possibility that, I know it's still a theory. It's probably a conspiracy theory, and I would like to believe that a lot has been actually pushed under the rug.
Definitely.
Yeah, completely
And
agree.
what's interesting? Uh, Rahul Dravid was the captain of RR. Rahul Dravid is the cleanest figure in not just Indian cricket but world cricket. Go ahead, Rehan. Sorry.
Yeah, and like the fact, like the power of the IPL, right? To get two new teams, and like two new teams in IPL is no joke. Like they're sold for hundreds of crores on such short notice. Like while selling the rights for LSG and GT, they had opened it up quite a while back. People were ready to shell out that much money, but for I think it was Gujarat Lions and Lucknow Super Kings, something like that. Yeah, that time, and they got it on board like such
It was
a
Kochi
like quick
Kochi
time. No,
Tuskers.
Rising Pune Super Giants. Sorry,
Rising Pune Super
Rising
Giants. It
Pune
was
Super Giants.
RPSG or
Yeah,
something. And
yeah, RPS. Yeah,
There was
and
Gujarat
that Gujarat Lions and
as well.
RPS. Yeah,
When did Kochi
Raina's
Tuskers
team,
come?
and that was like long back. They didn't pay their coaching staff or any of that. My home state, Kerala. Thank you. We were there for one season. We disappeared rather quickly. I think it was back in 2010 or something. Yeah, we shouldn't talk about that. Kerala football. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, like the whole, I mean, RPS in itself was filled with controversies. Like 1 year Dhoni's captaincy, and then he was fired next season to bring Smith on because Dhoni wasn't successful as a captain. But yeah, to show like how the IPL just acted on it really quickly and to get back up from there, and like the amount of money that the IPL made in the initial years, like Lalit Modi. I mean, every name that you can bring up in the IPL has been involved in some controversy or the other. But then, like this was a master plan from Indian cricket, like to launch it. The BCCI launched
Yeah.
something incredible that was a money maker for years to come.
And for all the lockdown kids who started watching cricket after 2020, probably, you have to remember that N. Srinivasan, the owner of CSK, was as powerful as Jay Shah is today in world cricket. He was, I think, he was chairman of BCCI. He controlled basic cricket in India, and I mean, conflict of interest was a joke. He controlled cricket in India. He owned CSK, which had won a couple of times, and CS. His son was betting on and against his own team. So
I think he
it
was the
was a joke.
reason they had to change the rule, right? Like the coaches who were working with the Indian team cannot work with an IPL team uh,
Yeah.
at that
yeah,
time. He was the reason they had
see,
to change
back then
rules.
conflict of interest was a joke, and it still is. It's just that it was very obvious.
Gautam Gambhir.
It used to be so conspicuous earlier in the day. Conflicts of interest, they were just turned deaf ear to. But right now, at least they are playing it very subtly. There is still conflict of interest in many of the positions that are existing in Indian cricket.
Yes, subtle. What was rule number 7 again? The new rule.
Who's the broadcaster of the IPL?
Ah,
Hmm.
that's I think a certain Hotstar, which was
Owned
bought
by who?
over and rebranded as Geo. Yeah, but
And
but
not owned by any IPL team.
definitely, I think back to the discussion on the match fixing or the spot fixing rather. Uh, one big controversy, I think, one big figure probably got a very clean sheet and also just got away because he was always in the good books. He was probably the calmest, never spoke a word much on the field, captain cool, etc. I
He
feel
spoke
that
when he was out.
yeah, I feel that there is probably more to it than meets the eye. MSD definitely knew it. It's almost like uh, Sachin Tendulkar, right? He's not a really vocal figure during his playing days, but there were so many things happening in the team even at that point in time. There's definitely not a chance that he wouldn't know. So yeah, I mean, we had Mohammad Azharuddin, the captain of the Indian cricket team back then. Manoj Prabhakar, I mean, not the star all-rounder, but definitely one of the key players in that team. Uh, and a couple of others like Ajay Jadeja and others also taken into questioning, right? There is every chance that Sachin Tendulkar was also approached, and I think based on
He was
biographical account,
approached.
he was approached,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
uh, I don't think MS Dhoni was absolutely innocent as he looks. He definitely knew something was going on, or probably
Made to
he was
look.
involved. Yeah, or made to look like he was not involved. Yeah.
So I'm guessing India Siemens is not sponsoring us anytime soon.
Yeah. We are supposed to go over more topics and we still haven't gotten over CSK. So speaks enough about the fixer gang. But anyway,
Speaking of CSK, they actually did. There was a tremendous comeback in 2018, or 2 years after they were banned. I think before the season, Dhoni was crying at a press conference, and the thing in 2018. It was actually a beautiful moment.
yeah.
I think it was a great story. They had an
Should
excellent
have
team.
retired then.
Should have retired then, but yeah.
Actually, I would
Uh,
actually like to bring something into the forefront. Speaking of
hmm.
retirement in CSK, something that's been really happening, a huge scam, is the tickets. Like saying it's the one last time, and like as soon as tickets are sold in Chennai, like half of the seats are blocked for sponsors, and then they're just resold in online resellers for exorbitant amounts. Like it's going up to like a lakhs figure, right? It's all because like Dhoni's last season, and this is such a huge scam. Fans are being treated so poorly, and it's not being spoken enough, and it's not being addressed at all.
I mean, one thing that they have done very diligently and also effectively is to take Indian fans for granted. Both the BCCI and some of these franchises, which have huge fan bases, CSK, MI, they take fans for granted. I mean, you have
Massively.
mediocre stadium in-house facilities. You have a really bad infrastructure. Given it happens in the peak of summer, I mean, mind you, it's happening in April and May. These are like the hottest months in India. The players are actually thrown into the furnace, and it's no different for spectators either. They are actually in the oven. It's sweltering heat. Thankfully, they don't have too many matches except for the weekends, which happen during the afternoon. But definitely, something which has been happening is the ticket scam, the fans, being taken for granted.
Speaking of the
Okay.
heat in the stadium, there was a certain man who was touched inappropriately by another man, and there were tears after that.
Do you want to
Khandalf, you want to talk about it?
enlighten our viewers, please?
You should add more context. You can't just
Yeah,
say that and end that topic.
this
So,
definitely
have, have,
warrants an explanation.
I mean, I think Srishant is a common theme between the previous controversy and this one. So Srishant was, for a weird reason, which we don't know the reason, right? Or we do like the reason is out or the reason is not out. I don't know.
I don't think it
Harbhajan
ever got
slapped
out.
Srishant on the ground after a match when the handshakes were happening, and you saw dramatic visuals of Srishant absolutely bawling, like this man, a grown ass man, absolutely bawling on camera after being slapped. It was just ridiculous.
I
Yeah,
don't know how
actually,
that man
we,
manages to
we, we
finance
never
over the
got to
set of
know.
everything.
We never
Yeah.
got to know the real truth. We never got to the bottom of that story. I think they just again brushed it under the carpet like everything else. Um all we could probably remember, all I could remember, are just two visuals. One, a faint image of Srishant getting slapped. That was not too clear either. And then it was all the vivid images of Srishant bawling and crying his heart out. He was
And
probably
this was an ongoing joke during the IPL as well. Like there was an altercation with Raidu and Harbhajan at one point, and you were scared. You were scared that like Harbhajan's gonna slap him now. Oh no, Harbhajan's gonna slap him now. That was the ongoing thing during the IPL as well.
And this was the first IPL 2008. So it was the first time that Indian players were playing against each other in a high profile game. Like they played Ranji earlier, but Indian players were playing
after
against each other
after having won the first T20 World Cup, right?
together. Yeah, Srishant and Haji, I think both of them were in the team.
I
Maybe
still
maybe
think
maybe
Srishant is a
Harbhajan
legend.
found out about a spot fixing incident that Srishant did.
Or maybe he didn't get paid.
Or Srishant is the reason why Harbhajan didn't get the last over.
All right.
Yeah.
There's every chance that the accusations and the jokes that we are making about some of the players here might actually go go viral, and
Yeah,
our channel becomes popular and we'll be sued for it. We really hope
yeah.
that
We're not doing
happens.
clickbait here.
Dude, even Srishant and Harbhajan, I think they were at an event and they were like boxing for fun, like slapping each other for fun to make like to get, and they were getting paid for that. They were promoting something at an event and like just for fun, they were slapping each other. So
Good
even they
marketing.
don't take it seriously.
I think we are cool then, because we are just making fun of all of them for fun. So we are not
Yeah.
going to be sued. Um, Moving on, I think we can discuss the biggest in recent times. There's been a lot of captaincy issues going on with teams. KKR, DC, MI, SRH, with different captains. I mean, I had to bring in SRH and Warner, because Warner was probably dearer to Telugus than Australians. So
Yeah. Aussie
definitely,
representation.
definitely the Telugu population in both Andhra and Telangana felt really offended the way David Warner was treated. Same with how KKR treated Shreyas Iyer, right, Rehan, and
Yeah.
probably
No,
sorry,
yeah,
DC,
KKR and DC. Both, actually,
DC.
even KKR for that matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of them actually were not really kind to Shreyas Iyer. Yeah, but he is definitely captaincy material, like what we could see in the last few matches or series. Shreyas Iyer definitely
He's
is
won five
definitely.
titles in the span
Yeah,
of 1 year, right? He's
yeah,
won a
yeah,
Syed Mushtaq Ali, Rani Trophy, Ranji Trophy, Vijay
absolutely,
Hazare, Champions Trophy, and an IPL.
absolutely. Yeah, let's delve a little more into each of these teams. Rehan, why don't you start with MI and probably Pandya?
Hardik Pandya. I mean, right before we started recording the episode, we were talking about how Jadeja was banned from the season, like because he was approached behind the scenes for like a pay. Would you like? Can you be coerced into joining our team? And then cut to 2023, where Hardik Pandya, 18 crores. Yeah, nothing else. It was all above board. Join our team. We'll pay you money. You're just a title winning captain, and you took your team to the like finals last season. Easily approachable. But there is this thing though, like Crickbuzz does this shows right after, right? So Joy Bhattacharya, Gaurav Kapoor, Harsha Bogle, I think they've kind of spoken about how MI is a team that does not shy away. Like they'll go, like back when Rashid was playing at SRH, they'll go knock on their door, ask like, "We want Rashid Khan. What do you want?" It could be like stupid, like it's never gonna be possible. They're not gonna never gonna part with that player, but they'd still ask like, "What are you gonna lose?" Like they'd go to CSK and ask for Dhoni, that kind of stuff. While that is there, I am not convinced that okay, I'm
Yeah,
not
just
supporting MI. While that
just
is there,
reminds me of mafia men just walking out to the opposing gangsters den right there, and then buying out people from there. Uh, you know,
you can say MI made an offer they couldn't refuse.
This is why I love the fact that IPL has salary caps. At least, like, I mean, there are exceptions like the Hardik incident, but in general, I think it's been great for the tournament. Otherwise, obviously, MI would just buy everything, and
Yeah.
maybe there would be more underdog stories if that would happen. But I think it's a level playing field. Like every year, a new team turns up. Some teams obviously are stronger than others because of their management and the culture. But I think at any given day, any team can beat any team.
Yeah, the
So
quality
salary caps have been
difference
great.
between the teams isn't much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the way, do you recall KKR and Saurav Ganguly? I know it's been a long time. It's probably for the boomer generation and the ones slightly after that. But
Yeah, he was removed after the first season as captain or second season.
I'm not sure. I remember like early KKR days where John Buchanan was a coach, and like they were playing. Like we don't have one captain. All our players are captains, and like Jack Carlis was there. I think McCallum was he there? I don't remember. Ganguly. Like they were playing hot potatoes. Like you be the captain. You be the captain. You're the like we had. They had a batting captain, a fielding captain. They had signals from the dressing room. It was just like an utter joke. The team management, everything, and
I
then
think
cut
that
to like when
yeah,
Ganguly
that
was
was definitely John Buchanan's idea.
yeah.
There was,
And then
I don't know if you guys recall, but when Buchanan was the coach, and there were controversies coming out of KKR every second day, and there was this blog. I can't recall the name. Somebody was writing a blog every day, pretending to be inside KKR and talking about the shit show. Now I don't know if it was real or not. Obviously, KKR claimed it wasn't real. A lot of people thought it was Akash Chopra, and the blog used weird names for players. Like for Buchanan, it used Bhukanan, and I remember reading that blog every single day. It was the best thing ever. I'll
Sorry,
try
I
to look
wasn't
for
old
it. I
enough
don't
to
think it.
read back then.
Yeah, of course.
No, I think Buchanan had this fantasy in his head even while he was coaching Australia. So the Australian one-day team, after I think the 2007 World Cup, he wanted to experiment a bit. I think he was the coach until 2007, if I'm not wrong. And after that, they slowly faded away, and the greats of the one-day game retired, and things like that happened. He wanted to experiment this idea of multiple captains within the same team, one fielding captain, bowling captain, and batting captain. He tried that out finally to his heart's content with KKR, and unfortunately, Saurav Ganguly was at the receiving end for the second time. With an Australian coach involved.
And then Ganguly was kicked out of KKR. I mean, not kicked out. He wasn't in KKR in the following season. And then it was Gambhir versus like Ganguly, Gambhir with KKR, and then versus Ganguly. Like there was this whole thing. Bengal will be divided today. Is it the Prince of Bengal that you're supporting, or is it KKR? It was KKR, by the way, in the end.
Yeah, but
Which
interesting
actually
this.
reminds me. I saw a preview for day after tomorrow's first match, saying Badshah versus King, and it was SRK versus Kohli. What?
I mean, makes sense. Both of them are professional actors at this point. I mean, Kohli does do some cricket part time, but yeah, whenever he gets some free time from ad shoots.
No, I think with all said about Shah Rukh Khan, I think he is one of the most powerless owners in the IPL. There are, I mean, he's a star. Agreed, he's a
He's a
celebrity, but
manager, right? Not an owner.
not sure. I think everyone
Venki
has
Mysore
stake.
is the owner, right?
Red
No, it's
Chilies
the
has a
opposite.
stake. Red Chilies
Oh,
has a
Shah Rukh
stake.
Khan is the owner. Venki Mysore is the.
okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm genuinely asking.
Why would he be the manager?
Okay, not manager, like he's a co-owner, right? But Venki
Yeah,
Mysore is
I
the
mean, he's definitely a
title.
co-owner. He's definitely a
Yeah.
co-owner,
Venki
but
Iyer, sorry, Venki Mysore is the
Mysore,
CEO.
Venki Mysore.
Yeah, Venki
Okay,
Mysore is the CEO, so he's like an executive. He's not the
okay.
owner.
guys, yeah. So I think Shah Rukh Khan, Juhi Chawla, the Red Chilies Entertainment, the company that they own together, all these have differing stakes in the company that is KKR. And of course, Venki probably is the CEO. It's more of a management position than a, what do you call the shareholder position. So
I
maybe
think
he
if we're
has,
talking about KKR and like
yeah.
the support they get, we should also talk about their former mentor Gambhir. Even despite leaving the franchise, let's not forget Harshit Rana and the uncapped player retention that they got, like silver spoon. Like if you had played an international game by this period, you won't be an uncapped player. And Gambhir made sure he wasn't selected for any of those games right up until that window expired. That was a huge controversy at the time as well.
I think Gautam
I
Gambhir
think
and
I think
probably,
that nothing came out of that eventually because his selection of Varun Chakravarti and to an extent Harshit Rana won us the Champions Trophy. So it was a master stroke at the end.
no, definitely. I think, except for Harshit Rana, I think everyone's forgotten about the BGT, right? The Border Gavaskar
Yeah.
Trophy.
What? What
Sorry,
is
what?
BGT?
BGT, I have no idea what
Bindu
BGT.
Gowda Trophy? Sorry. We don't follow
Yeah.
such tin pot bilaterals.
All right, then, gentlemen. So we move on to the next controversial stuff that's probably happened across a few IPL seasons. I'm talking about Ravichandran Ashwin, the monkeying, if I may use the term, and the
Non-striker run out.
controversies. Yeah, the
It's
non-striker
just a
being
run
run out.
out. It's
Run out
just
at
a
the
run out.
non-strikers. The run out at the non-strikers end. Is that how it's called? Yeah. So
It's just run out.
or run out. Play simply put. The big controversy around these things. There's always an opinion around that. There is always polarization around this topic. Your views?
I think it's. I mean, it's part of the rules. You try to take an undue advantage as a batter. The bowler is well within their rights to get you out on the non-striker's end. It's just stupid that the English players are bringing in ambiguous statements like "spirit of cricket," and
They're a
yeah,
cult at this point.
they are.
Yeah. As long as
Speaking of that, did you read Ben Duckett's statement? He said something
Bumrah.
about how he'll be able to tackle Bumrah easily, and then claimed that he didn't say that. He's been famous for saying a lot of things. So I think earlier this year when India whacked England in the home series, he
Right.
said, it doesn't matter. This series doesn't matter. We'll we'll take on India in the
As long as we
Champions
beat them in the
Trophy.
final.
Yeah.
Famous last
and
words.
and and I think in the last home test series that India had,
Pataudi
he had
Trophy.
famously, yeah, he had
Yes, sir.
famously said that that India are playing faster because of him, that like
Jaiswal. Jaiswal
Jaiswal
is able to. We are inspired
yeah,
him.
that the English baseball method has inspired Jaiswal to play faster. So the memes were amazing after
Yes,
that.
sir.
Whenever
yeah, I
Jaiswal
think
scored like a
Ben
century,
Duckett
there was
is.
a photo of him thanking Ben Duckett.
I think Ben Duckett is probably designated to do this. I know there are certain teams which do this assignments to certain players to be the
The court
uh,
jester.
yeah, no. I
Like
think the
Mitchell Marsh.
yeah, like Mitchell Marsh. For Mitchell Marsh is actually a court jester, but David Warner pre 2018 scandal was the designated hunting dog, or what do you call the loose cannon for that
Yeah,
matter. He
yeah.
would just
This
go and pick
isn't
on.
loose cannon. This is delusion. Like he needs to get treated.
No, definitely. I think Ben Duckett is that designated loose cannon or delusional, the cult
Actually, you're right.
uh, PR
Yeah,
guy.
that makes sense. Actually, yeah. England are saving Test cricket by
Yeah.
introducing such controversies
Losing?
through
Okay. Yeah, that.
Yeah, but
saving.
at this
Oh yeah,
point, I feel
losing, saving.
English fans are also tired of this. Them saying that it's okay to lose, but they entertain. So, are you entertained? Is the question.
Yeah. Like the people's champions, like the Rock.
Yeah, it's
People's
always
champion, really?
it's always Stone Cold Steve Austin that wins, but the people's champ is The Rock.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay,
like
what's
back to
next?
actually getting about the controversy. Like Ashwin
Yeah.
has been in
Okay.
the
Yeah.
middle of like the run out and like there was also something retired out to get a better batter in, and there was some talk around that as well. And I think he's put it in like really good words than anybody else has. Like a run, a wicket, an inch can make or break careers, right? You're a player growing up in India with immense competition. Like it's a country of 1.3 billion people, and there's so much competition. Like not just in terms of like the quality of players, but there's also like, let's be honest, there's a lot of politics involved in like domestic level cricket. So if you want to make it into something, you have to like get every advantage. You have to try and win each and every game at the best of your ability. The batter tries to take an extra inch, that's fine. The batter is free to do so. But if you're out, just walk back to the pavilion. Don't stand there and cry about how you're trying to save cricket. How this is, yeah.
I've never seen a batter like Ben Stokes is surprised every time he gets out. So,
Virat Kohli, there's so much competition between the two of them, okay?
yeah,
Like meme face.
yeah.
I
Okay.
I want to briefly talk about one incident which might not be that impactful in the grand scheme of things, but visually it was cinema. It was when Pollard almost threw a bat at Mitchell Stark. I think what happened was that Mitchell Stark had balled a bouncer, and the next ball he was coming up in his run up, and uh, uh, Pollard backed off, and
Pollard
then
walked out, yeah, the last second.
yeah, Pollard backed off the last second, and then Mitchell Stark was of course angry because he's running up from far, and
He
then
still
he
bowled the
said
ball.
something. Yeah, he
No,
still
he
bowled the
bowled
ball,
the ball. Yeah,
huh. And I think
and
he was
Pollard got
almost
super angry.
he could have been hurt, right, Pollard? But although I mean,
Yeah, I
looking
mean,
at
you
Pollard's
don't
size,
want
it's
a
hard to hurt him.
140 kilometers leather ball coming at you either way, right? Yeah, and if he hadn't reacted, if he hadn't moved away, it could have hit him. You don't know. And Stark did follow him to a certain extent. It wasn't going to hit him, but it was followed. It followed him to a certain extent. And
Yeah.
yeah, Pollard just immediately threw the bat onto the ground. Like that's a like both of those are like towering men who are huge, and like Pollard made Stark look small. And
Yeah.
Pollard's at
Thank
the
God it
center of
was.
so many of these
It
things.
was
Yeah,
it was it seemed like Pollard was throwing his bat at Stark, but it slipped and fell somewhere else.
yeah, he was actually, almost about to throw in annoyance, and it actually slipped.
Yeah.
and yeah, thank God it was Mitchell Stark and not Mitchell Johnson. I just quickly recall the Ashes that Mitchell Johnson owned, where he actually did a similar thing. He just threw the ball at Kevin Peterson for moving away every time he
Yeah.
came on to board for the third time or the fourth time in like a single spell, and that was really annoying. It was, but theater again. It was just drama,
Yeah.
added fun to
The
that
Ashes
series,
is theater all around.
other than Mitchell Johnson's mustache and how he owned the English batting lineup in that series. Another close incident again from Australia. Sorry, viewers and gentlemen, my Australia references never end. So the BBL, which had, I think it was the first BBL or the second BBL, Shane Warne captaining Melbourne Stars. Marlon Samuels did something really stupid when they were fielding. Marlon Samuels was holding the non-striker, not allowing David Hussey, I think, if I recall, not allowing him to take a run. And when Shane Warne's team, the Melbourne Stars came on to bowl, he reminded Marlon Samuels of that, and then they had a very very heated altercation. And after that, Samuels threw the bat at him. I, I think
And their thing went on for a long time. Warren
that
hated
went on for a
Samuel.
long time. Yeah,
Marlon
yeah.
hated Warren.
Yeah, that went on for a long time. But fireworks, there's nothing like,
Yeah.
great fireworks, both in terms of success hit, in terms of the fireworks that actually happen literally, and the fireworks that happen on the field verbally and otherwise. Uh, the last one that we are going to discuss is something which was very unusual at that point in time. It's almost like how we used to discuss that there was a spring in Ricky Ponting's bat in 2003 and Sanath Jayasurya's bat when he hit the fastest 100 in 48 balls. This was something very similar, but it actually was something ridiculous. I think it was Kookaburra or I'm not sure, Gray Nichols or Kookaburra. I think Kookaburra was the manufacturer. They made a mongoose bat, and Matthew Hayden was using it for a few matches in one of the first or I think first few seasons, and that was a moment for me. It was hugely controversial because of what damage it could do. It had a long handle, for those who are not aware. A long handle. It was called the mongoose. Long handle, a big meat right at the back of the bat. It was almost like a baseball bat, and pretty narrow as compared to bats of Sachin Tendulkar or David Warner or Lance Klusner. These guys are known to have used heavier bats than usual, but this one was actually a narrow bat, but it had a
But it
heavy
was
meat at the
faster,
back
right?
of the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And how many matches did he use it for?
I think he
I
just
remember the
used,
DD match
yeah,
rather that he used it for, and he
Delhi
scored I think
Rivals.
93 of 43 balls.
yeah, yeah.
I was a DD fan, and it was just one of the most
I'm sorry.
incredible innings to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he was probably comfortable in it. He was
Yeah,
someone who
he
actually
actually
walked on.
talked about that, right? Like Mongoose bat isn't generally known for being a bat that is actually good for batting, etc. And he was one who argued that that's something that helped his batting, as opposed to like the other bats.
Yeah, it's almost like batters generally practicing during nets and shadow batting sessions when they use a stump for a bat. I think Hayden probably used it almost in a similar vein, but definitely controversial at that point in time because there were no strong rules around the bat sizes and shapes. Uh, but
Mongoose
then
bat is
post
still legal.
It's still legal. It's still legal,
Yeah,
but I don't think anyone is comfortable with using
yeah.
it like Hados was. But definitely one moment that stood out from all these seasons. Uh,
My
Plenty
guess
of
is that
controversy.
my guess is that no, I mean earlier not a lot of people used to play behind the wicket, like, or not a lot of people used to scoop. I think there was Dilshan, there was McCullum, but now
Yeah,
almost every second T20 player does that, and even top edges then go for six. So
yeah, yeah,
that would be a challenge with the Mongoose bat as well.
correct. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the market is dead for the mongoose bat, but I would like
Yeah.
to see a comeback from that bat. With that, I think there is actually no dearth of controversies in the IPL. There is a lot of money involved, so there is always going to be a speculation that some match or the other is fixed, especially when your team is losing. And uh, there is
That's the
definitely going
RCB fan.
and there's definitely going to be controversy, a big one this time. Who knows where it is going to come from? It could be Mahendra Singh Dhoni's selection itself in the first place, or it could be Virat Kohli's strike rate.
Untapped player.
We could probably have a special episode on Virat Kohli's strike rate with Archit Fixer Podu having a lot of opinions around it. He's the biggest fan of Virat Kohli, although he has a lot of reservations around his strike rate and the way he plays the white ball format. That's all we have for now. Thank you, gentlemen, both of you, Rehan, Fixer Podu, Archit. We will meet again. As I said earlier, we are out of the shadow of football. Siu is cricket. Goodbye.
Seals cricket.
Okay, I think that went well.
Yeah.
That
Pretty
was fun.
decent.